Hey guys, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts. I hope you're doing well and enjoying this cold winter day. Even in South Carolina, it's pretty darn chilly. But it's the sun's out and that makes everybody happier. I've got a couple of exciting changes coming up. So the first one is we've launched a new website at theoriginalcrockpetdiet.com. We're very excited about it because the old website was kind of creaking along and having a fair number of issues that were frustrating us as well as you if you were trying to get the information you wanted or purchase items. So check it out when you have a chance, theoriginalcrockpetdiet.com. And then the second thing, which is not quite here yet, but I am beyond excited about, is our own line of supplements. And I've struggled to find the best products I can for you. The problem is that a lot of the fillers and binders end up creating problems for your pets, especially in the GI tract. So the product we'll be launching is going to be called Holistic Total Body Support, and it's a complete multivitamin for dogs and cats. The thing that's really interesting about this is that we've been able to pull together glandular support for your pets, and that is such a huge thing. I think there are a number of products out there, but none of them are designed specifically for pets and for especially the adrenal and liver support that they need. So to kind of give you a little information about that, glandular support means taking pieces of the actual organs or glands that we're trying to support. So it's a very old concept of medicine, both in traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, and then many of the Native Americans use this. And in fact, we ate this way until very, very recently. But the idea is that like feeds like. So for instance, if your pet is having adrenal issues as far as Cushing's disease, Addison's disease, and then adrenal hypofunction, which we don't really have a handle on in pets, but I think does exist, the best idea would be to feed your pet adrenal gland. And the reason is that it's not so much for the hormone content as it is for providing those raw materials that your pets need to help support organ function. The other big challenge for pets, as it is for us as well, is detoxification. So feeding a little bit of liver helps to provide the raw materials that the liver needs to help provide good detoxification. So meaning getting rid of all of the junk that we eat, breathe, and drink during the day, so that the liver can perform its functions of producing proteins and fats that help repair the body at night. And so to say that I'm, again, beyond excited about this, because this way you're going to have the ability to access a supplement that you can trust that's been formulated specifically for pets and is easily accessible. That's been some of the issues with the glandular products in the past, is that you have to go through a healthcare provider to get that. They'll be available on our website, and it's a perfect complement to the original Crock Pet diet. So whether you're feeding commercial food, whatever you've got going on, we're super excited about our total whole body support. So look for that sort of mid to late January. If you want more information, go to the website, theoriginalcrockpetdiet.com, and get on our email list. Also, we'll send you some information about the Crock Pet diet if you're not familiar with that, so that you can see what's going to be best for your pet. But very excited to have this coming forward. So we've got a couple of questions that people had written in. The first one is from Kim, and she's asking about her 5-year-old Dachshund who's developing skin tags. And some she can kind of pick off and some she can't. And that's kind of one of the things that's frustrating with these guys as we get older. And you know, humans do that too, unfortunately. We start making stuff they're not cancerous or malignant, but they're not normal. And so she's wondering what to do about that. She's been using some tea tree oil and aloe, which aren't really helping. And then she's been eating a raw diet, meat and bones, and takes a multivitamin and cod liver oil. So there's a couple of things going on. One is 5 is kind of young for skin tags. And sometimes we don't actually know how old our pets are if we're adopting them from as adults from a shelter or from a situation that's been horrible for them. So there's a couple of things we can look at. One is raw diets are cold and damp according to Chinese medicine. And so if you live in a cold environment, or if you live in an environment where the humidity is super high, this can end up creating issues, and that can show up anywhere. So it might be in what your pet's eating. It might be where they're living. But that's why I recommend cooking food. So the idea is that the stomach needs that 100-degree soup to help the spleen process the good stuff out of the food, or the Gucci, and make everything else work in the body. So sometimes switching to cooked food can help tremendously, and that's why we designed it as a cooked diet. The other thing is sometimes these guys get viral warts, and so if this all started off relatively soon after having had vaccines, you may consider Thuja, which is used to help detoxify the body. We use the mother tincture, which is pretty easily available, and I'll put a link to where you could find this down in the comments section in a little bit. But so we use that after vaccines to help prevent both the long-term and short-term side effects of it. And then the other thing is to make sure that, if you're not sure whether these are really skin tags or whether they're viral warts, definitely go talk with your veterinarian and get a handle on which is which, because it's a very different thing we're trying to approach here. So first thing is cooked food. And then the other thing that can be helpful too is vitamin A in really low doses. So literally for a little Dachshund, it might be something around 5,000 IU. So sometimes that can be quite helpful too. But so 5,000 IU of vitamin A once a day. So hopefully that will help you, Kim, and let's see if we can get things turned around just by adjusting diet. Susan asks what my opinion on cat food is containing Carrageenan. And she's heard that it's known for causing GI inflammation and irritation. She's got a couple of foster kitties that have been diagnosed with IBS. And so would I recommend eliminating all foods with Carrageenan for these kitties, or even for all cats? And then other suggestions that might help alleviate the diarrhea and the IBS symptoms. And Susan, you're absolutely right. Carrageenan and other gums, so you may see that show up as Carrageenan or xanthan gums or sometimes resin gums. These are all things that kind of came from food, but they've been processed in such a way that they're used in pet foods and actually a lot of our foods. So if you start reading labels, it'll horrify you what it's in. But the purpose of them is to provide a consistency. So they're used in salad dressings a lot for that reason. But in cat food, it helps to provide a stable sort of pate consistency. Yes, I think that they are a problem. It's the old adage of if you look at the label and you can't pronounce things, or your grandmother doesn't know what they are, you probably shouldn't feed it to your pets, and you definitely shouldn't eat it. So the tough thing, though, is with kitties is that we may have a great plan for them and they may not agree with that plan. So it's important to do things like, see what you can get away with. So try using the original Crock Pet diet. In the ebook, there's a starter recipe for cats that we found to be much easier to get cats converted to. So what you might try is using that starter recipe, but realize that it may take quite a bit of time to get your kitties converted to the cooked food. So literally, you might start with a teaspoon per meal and then gradually introduce more in until you're finally able to take away the canned food altogether. And for what it's worth, too, you're definitely on the right track as far as canned food is much better as far as providing moisture to kitties to help prevent other issues. And then the other thing that we find that's very helpful to alleviate diarrhea is a product called RX Clay, which is essentially a bentonite clay. And the thing that's awesome about it is that it adsorbs some of the enterotoxins. So that's little toxins that bad bacteria produce that create a lot of the symptoms of diarrhea and inflammatory bowel disease, as far as the gas and the bloating and the really horrible diarrhea. So that's been very helpful. Most cats will allow you to mix that into the food without an issue. I would use the labeled dose. You may need to start a little bit low and gradually get up to that. It is safe to use at a higher dose, but what you'll want to do is try increasing that gradually till you get the effect that you're looking for as far as helping to reduce the diarrhea, the discomfort that's in your cat's tummy because of all the gas and the bloating. So those are useful. And then the other thing is, too, is if you're doing rescue, cats are so prone to having stress affect how they feel. So it's important to make sure that they're in an environment where they feel safe, they don't have another cat that's bullying them, and that they've got a lot of places to get away from each other if they need some personal space, so to speak. So cat trees are great for that. People will use little beds that attach to windowsills, which cats love because it helps them have a way to look outside and enjoy the environment. So that's a very important thing to do as well. Feliway diffusers can be very helpful if you've not tried those, although that's kind of become common knowledge. So folks are generally writing and asking about what to do about kitties once they've tried all of the simple stuff. So I hope that helps. The other thing, too, is we have a Get Health program that's designed for both dogs and cats. And it suggests different ways to rotate foods so that you can help eliminate the food sensitivities that your pet may or may not be experiencing, and then also goes through several supplements that can be helpful as far as controlling the symptoms and then nurturing your pet's gut back to health, so to speak. We've got some folks joining us, which is awesome. So hopefully, if you've got questions, post them, and we'll see if we can get this answered. So that's what I've got for you, Susan. I hope that's helpful. Kitties and diarrhea is just not fun, that's for sure. Pat's asking about. Well, actually, she's telling me first that she's been feeding the crock pet to her 8-year-old Westie for about 1.5 years, and everybody loves it. The dog loves it. They're feeling great, but she's concerned about her pup's teeth. She's brushing her teeth nightly and using some store-bought toothpaste, and she's wondering about ideas for homemade tooth cleaning products. I'll put a link in the comments below, but there are tons of recipes all over the internet for dogs and for humans for homemade toothpaste, which is kind of cool because if you've got mouth sensitivities, most of the commercial toothpastes are not great. This recipe includes cinnamon. You may consider leaving that out because it can be an irritant to the mouth. And you can also try switching out calcium carbonate for baking soda as it seems to be a little bit less abrading. The one thing you definitely do not want to do is use xylitol as a sweetener, as it is toxic to pets. They can't process it through their livers, and so it can really create some horrible situations. In fact, there are reports of dogs eating, whole containers of gums that have chewing gum that has xylitol in it, and ending up in the emergency room with liver failure. So xylitol is definitely something you want to avoid using. You can try other products like stevia, but really I think that's more for our own psychology. And dogs are going to kind of put up with whatever we ask them to do. Basically, most of these are made with coconut oil, and that's often enough to get the pets accepting you brushing their teeth. The other thing you can use is big carrots, so like the big juicing carrots that are 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. Those provide a great abrading surface, and that can be very helpful. Bones, if your pet is relatively young, some of the older pets, if they're not accustomed to raw bones, will actually fracture teeth, and we don't want to do that. Raw bones reduce the possibility that your pet will eat a big chunk of bone and have a GI foreign body, but certainly if they're not accustomed to it, start when you're able to stay in the room for at least 5 minutes and watch to make sure that your dog in particular is not trying to choke a bone down. If that happens, it's just not going to be a good fit for your pet. Plaque Off has been very helpful. It's a kelp-based product that you add to the food. It helps to reduce the bacteria that allow plaque to attach to the teeth. And the other thing is that, I mean, Pat sounds like she's already brushing aggressively and probably has things well under control for her own dog. But if your dog is starting with 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of tartar across all of the teeth, sometimes you really just have to kind of bite the bullet and get your pet's teeth cleaned up. The anesthesia is much safer than it used to be, and there's a great deal of evidence that shows that not having all that bacteria up next to the inflamed gum does help prevent things like heart and kidney disease down the road. So, sorry to say it, but it really is of benefit, and it's not just vets trying to rip you off. The healthier your pet's mouth stays, the healthier the rest of the body stays. So those are all things to consider. Again, I'll put a link down in the comments section about where to find a starter recipe for homemade dog toothpaste. So that's kind of what I've got for you. What I wanted to remind you guys about too, again, brand new website at the original Crock-Pot Diet, and check that out. And then Joe's got a question. She's got a 7-year-old Silky that's had ACL surgery about 7 weeks ago, and she wants her recommendations to help her get better. She's eating the Crock-Pot food, which is awesome. So, you know, that's going to help her heal up. I hope she's doing well after the surgery, but that's a frustrating process. So what we've done in practice to help speed the healing is cold laser therapy. So if you search for companion animal laser therapy or companion laser therapy, they have a practitioner lookup, and that's been an enormous help. So the idea with that is that it helps to improve blood flow into the area that's trying to heal. It alleviates pain from the surgery, and it just has been tremendous as far as speeding up healing process. The other thing that's been helpful is just doing passive range of motion exercises. And I think you're right at that time when most surgeons want you to wait 8 weeks before you start doing any kind of rehab. But I think that just passive range of motion is a great idea. I'll put a link to a video I did about how to do that for your pet on our website, so you can check that out. And then just start moving things more slowly and keeping that knee warmed up. So in human PT right after surgery, icing is helping, but this is a time when warming therapy, so a heat pad on low or something of that nature, can be very helpful too as far as getting the knee comfortable. And then the other, hey Livy, and then the other thing you can do is do the warming therapy first and then do the passive range of motion exercises, because there's nothing like trying to move a stiff joint to really make you uncomfortable. Fish oil is important to help start cleaning up the oxidative enzymes that are produced during the healing process. And then if you're not using a joint supplement already, definitely add that in. That's been a huge help as far as getting these guys comfortable, helping to slow down the arthritis that can often accompany having had an injury. So that's just tremendously important. I generally recommend Arthro-Ease Gold because it's kind of the kitchen sink of joint supplements. It's got the typical glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, but it also has hyaluronic acid present. So Joe, I hope that helps you and helps your pup. That's been a huge, huge benefit for our patients in the past, and I think that any dog that's over the age of 5, that's something to consider adding into the diet in general, simply because chondroitin and glucosamine and all of those things help to control inflammation in general. But if you're starting to have some wear and tear on the joints, that does seem to slow down the progression of any arthritis. So I hope that helps. Again, really excited about the new website, the original Crock-Pot Diet, so go check it out. That'll be a great source of information for you. We finally got the kinks ironed out so that it is able to provide you information much more easily. The shopping experience is much easier as well. So that's super exciting. And then the other big announcement, which again I am just beyond excited about, is we'll be presenting our own line of supplements somewhere mid-January to late January. The first product is going to be holistic total body support. Again, a complete nutritional supplement so that you are assured that you're feeding your pet the very best in a multivitamin. But the big kicker in this product is that there are glandular supports, so actual pieces of organs and glands to help feed your pet. So the idea of like eats like in medicine is very, very old and ancient, both in many of the ancient traditions as far as traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, and then many of the native peoples all across the globe have used this to help support themselves. So for pets, we see that their adrenal glands get stressed because we spay in early, neuter in life, and they become responsible for making all of the sex hormones, and then also detoxifying the liver and supporting the GI tract. So look for that. We'll be getting you more information. You know, if you go to the website, just sign up for some info on the Crock Pet diet. That'll put you on our mailing list. And as we get these new products and have them available, you'll get notified about that as well. So many thanks, guys. Happy holidays to you. Enjoy them. Kiss your pets on the head and all over the place, just because golly, it's been a crazy year for me and for many people out there. But these guys are always there when we need them, and we show them lots of love, but just give them extra hugs and kisses. And that's what I got for you this week. So we'll have another installment next week. We'll get some information about when that'll be, and we'll go from there. Many thanks. Merry Christmas. And let's get excited about 2017.